You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Hello and welcome to Orange County's longest running business talk show, Critical Mass. And yes, I am your host, Rick Franzi. And boy, do we have a good show planned for you. Why do you ask? Because our guest, Shelley Iocona, is here. She is the founder of On Its Axis and a nominee for this year's Orange County Business Journal's Excellence in Entrepreneurship Award. Shelley, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Rick. I'm happy to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you about your entrepreneurial journey. So let's go back in time, Shelley, and talk to us about the original motivation or inspiration that you had for starting your company.
I think I was always an intrapreneur at companies I worked for, trying to make them more excellent or innovative, which we know that's not your role when you're inside a corporation, right? And so back in the 2007, 2009 timeframe, I was always working in high tech, and I was at Yahoo at this point, and working in engineering, supporting engineering. And I stopped and said to myself, why are we building what we're building? I hit a point in my career where I hit a wall, and I really wanted to understand the market and our customers. And I thought, well, what kind of companies do this work? And there weren't that many. It was the time of lean startup, where we build, we measure, we learn. And that's when On Its Axis was born. Now, it took me a few years to really go out on my own, and we'll probably talk about that today, go out on my own fully and make the transition to an entrepreneur. But that was the start. That was the catalyst, was wanting to help companies build better, and for myself, really wanting to learn something different, learn why I was doing what I was doing for these companies.
I have to applaud you because I think many employees ask themselves the same question: why are we doing what we're doing? But few do anything about it other than do what they're doing because that's what they've been told to do. So that's the first spark of entrepreneurship. And you use the term intrapreneur, and that's really hard in companies to foster that type of internal innovation. Even for tech companies who were innovative in the beginning, they sort of slow down and kind of calcify a little bit, don't they?
It's so challenging. Absolutely. For so many different reasons. And one thing we do today, we help teach that. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but
Okay.
That's a passion of mine. Yeah.
So it sounds like you had the good fortune to be able to continue to do your day job, get some level of a paycheck while you began your entrepreneurial journey. Is that what you just said?
That's right. I did. And I'll be honest, I was not comfortable with sales. I'm an operator. I love building things and doing the work. So working on the business was not exciting to me at all. And I've learned to enjoy it over time. But I really wanted to work in the business. And so I transitioned from an employee to a contractor. And I was fortunate at one of the companies I worked for. My manager, he was a senior leader, a COO, and he said to me, yeah, you can absolutely transition into contract work. And so I was able to have that contract and another contract to then sort of develop expertise in different industries, going from contracting to then consulting, and then eventually consulting to really building my business.
So, invariably founders talk to us about the early days and the pivots that they had in the business. It sounds like you had that opportunity to kind of work the kinks out of the business model while you were not guaranteed a paycheck, but you had a friendly friends and family kind of client to get started with, which is wonderful. Yeah.
And I think that's being I learned to be authentic, right? I had to be honest about who I was, what I needed, communicate that. And I was a hard worker. So I think it was, Shelley's got a great work ethic. This is authentically who she is. Let's move her into a role that's going to work for her. And so, yes, once I saw myself, then I was seen, and I started to move in that direction. So
yeah, but I mean, from my perspective, the other side of it is you kind of took a risk by admitting that you wanted to make this change. You had an empathetic boss who encouraged it, but that doesn't always happen, Shelley, huh?
absolutely, absolutely. And I had supportive family and friends, and and it was, it's a roller coaster ride. I mean, you support business owners and entrepreneurs, and you're an entrepreneur. So, yeah, it's a roller coaster of a ride. You have many times where you go, why am I doing this? But you also I had a safety net of, I had hard skills, I had technical skills, so I had to fall back on. When that, I'm not, I give myself that credit, but I also know that I could fall back on, going back in, doing product management, doing program management. I did have that skill set. And those were great salaries. So I always knew that. And that gave me the confidence to say, well, do I want to go back or do I want to press forward?
Were you ever tempted to go
A couple
back?
times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In my experience, life puts those in front of you to test you. Are you really serious about this business, or is this like a hobby? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Because you were running through the Great Recession, right? I mean, you kind of 2007, 2009. Those were difficult years for business here in Orange County.
Sure. And I didn't really go full time with it until 2014. And in 2014, so about 10 years now on its axis, has been on this growth trajectory. And, I was doing product consulting, product building, helping companies launch and reimagine products. And it was in 2018 where there was a major pivot. So I had about a 4-year run with me and just maybe one or two other people supporting me. And it was in 2018 where I hired, I call her my co-founder. Technically, that's probably not the right term, but I mean, she launched our people division, and from there, the company grew. And why I call that out is because I was noticing that we needed more. It was, hey, you're doing all of this for us, but can you staff this, or can you help with organizational design and development and change management? And it's like, well, no, I don't do that. So clients were showing me a path forward. Clients were giving me, right? And, as the great Steve Blank says, get out of the building, do your discovery work to learn what the market needs. And the market was saying, hey, you could make this bigger if you wanted to. And so launching that division, that's really when things started to change in 2018, which, it took a while. So it's not like it's, some overnight, oh, this, 2009, this happened. And then, a year later, it's off to the races. It took me years to get to the point where I was like, this is a real go.
Yeah, and whenever I hear 2018, I think, okay, let's 2019, and then, oh my goodness, 2020 and 21 with COVID, and how that put a lot of speed bumps in front of businesses of all sizes.
Yes, it did. And what was great, though, Rick, is by that point we had growth. We had had enough growth, clients, and different revenue streams that we were able to get through it. Get through COVID.
So let's talk about on its axis today. You sort of teased us with sort of the business as it's evolved. What are you doing today? Who are you helping? What problems are you guys solving? And talk to us a little bit about the kind of client that really knows how to leverage the relationship with your firm and get the kind of maximum ROI?
Yeah, so we're a management consulting firm. We really focus on innovation. So we want to work with companies that have stagnant growth or want to launch a new product or program. We've helped clients with a new food product or a new technology product. We've helped with their change management. We've helped them create more intrapreneurs in their organization so that they themselves know how to do this work internally. We work with not only Fortune 1000 companies, but also privately held companies that maybe can't afford, they can't afford an Accenture, and they don't need an Accenture or a large management consulting firm, but they need research and design. They need the strategy work that goes into launching something new and staying market resilient. So we do that work. We also have a nonprofit practice as well. So that has been very exciting for us to develop that out. But I'd say clients come to us that they have stagnant growth, or they need more profit resilience, in their plan. They're looking for sustainability in their model and their growth plan. One of the most interesting things we've done in the last few years is launch an accelerator. So yes, we have a corporate accelerator, and that's exciting. Corporations tend to move very slowly. But we're doing a lot of work right now with the utilities, and the utilities are great because, we have a lot of field workers out, especially in California, that need to learn new skills, and they need to be equipped with operational tools, excellence tools. So we'll do workshops around that. So workshops for the build industry, for field service operations. That's something that is new for us really in the last couple of years. I went through a energy program through WeBank. We're a women-owned business, and we have our certification. Went through a wonderful program, learned a lot, and got really excited about supporting a new industry. So we serve basically any organization that is forward thinking and that really needs profit resilience, sustainability, and is thinking about how to grow and compete as they're predicting and planning for the future, because it's changing day by day.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And with technology and the other things, regulation, politics, there's a lot of stuff that affects the future that then you have to respond to as a company. As you were talking, I was thinking, working with entrepreneurs and SMBs, a lot of the focus is how do you de-risk the business? How do you make it predictable, sustainable? If you push this lever, you get that output. And while that is valuable and necessary, it also feels like if you're not careful, it becomes very restrictive then, because the business has tightened up to a point where the entrepreneurship and the taking risks and trying something new becomes almost an anathema to how we run our business today. Is that, am I making sense at all with what I'm saying, Shelley?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think organizations I'm so impressed with what they're doing today. And we didn't see this when I was in corporate so much. They have organizational effectiveness teams, and they're developing out programs to support employees to think about, their own lives, their own goals, and how they can bring their own professional development beyond just OKRs and KPIs and all of that, but how they can learn core skills and bring that, into the workforce. So what I call true entrepreneurship. And, one great example of that would be, say, AI, bringing that skill set in, rather than saying, oh no, we're going to lose our workforce because of AI. Instead, they're saying, this is the forward-thinking company we want to work with. Rick, this is who Honest Access wants to work with. A forward-thinking company that does not say that says, let's empower our workforce with AI, and let's hire a company like Honest Access to teach them how to train a model, how to use human-centered design principles and empathy to create models for the organization in these different use cases, right? That's what we want to see happen, and that those companies are going to win and stay relevant.
So this is kind of off the script question, but as you were answering that, I'm wondering from your perspective, and if it's not a valid question, we'll move on. But is the changing dynamic of the workforce, we had a lot of energy around millennials, but guess what? Now it's Gen Z that's got the focus because they're the new workforce. I mean, are you seeing anything inside of the companies that have a lot of millennials and Gen Z about this idea of entrepreneurship inside the business and sort of doing things differently?
They're definitely needing to do things differently, and I think that the younger generations are influencing leadership to say, this is what we need to see happen. And so the companies that are listening are getting ahead of the curve. Absolutely.
Yeah, it probably goes hand in hand with what you said earlier about AI. If they're open to AI, they're probably open to listening to their newer workers about ideas on how to redo the business. I'm wondering though, on this journey, maybe in the early days, did you ever have a sense of feeling alone or maybe even a little bit lonely in this trek?
Absolutely. I think that when you get to a certain point as a leader, who do you talk to for support? Who are your peers, right? And sometimes, you're a huge advocate of business network, and you've created that. But sometimes, if you're having a challenge with revenue or capital, you may not want to share that with some of your trusted network, and then also some of your network may not understand the niche or, your goals or how you're serving, right? And so finding support can be incredibly challenging, but I do think there's a lot of ways to get the support that you need. I know business coaches are very popular with some, but I would also say having team is key. So the more that I rely on aspects of the business I don't enjoy or don't do well, quite frankly, having team for those pieces, then I can get freed up to feel less alone on the aspects that are really challenging. And then the loneliness goes away because I realize I have support. And usually I just need more time to process or to go ride my bike or hike or do something enjoyable. Maybe it's really not feeling lonely. Maybe it's more, I just don't have enough time for self-care.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's job one for an entrepreneur, because you can't let yourself get hollowed out by the business and by the people and by the clients. You need to put your oxygen mask on first and move from there. So I'm wondering, speaking of business and now advice, Shelley, do you have a piece of advice that you found valuable that you could pay it forward to my audience today?
I think definitely find your network. I wish I had done that earlier in my entrepreneurial journey. I think it's only been more recently that I've gone out and joined different groups and also carved out time in my schedule for those groups. So, I can be very singularly focused, work in the business, don't leave time for these other things, but really it's so important. And now I do make time for that. And so I'd say to your audience today, absolutely make that time to connect with other business owners. They don't have to be in the same industry, but make time to connect with them, make time to get involved in your community. We have events in Orange County that come up that, even if they're not completely relevant to your industry, go once a quarter to something, meet people. It's really important, and you'll get something out of it. I mean, it doesn't have to be a piece of business. It can be a great conversation.
Or an idea. An idea that you hadn't thought. That's what I love to see, that spark with an entrepreneur when they get a thought that they hadn't thought of themselves. Boy, and they latch onto it, what they can do with that idea, because it's the inspiration of thinking differently, which it sounds like it's right up your alley as far as how you help your clients. So what's the future hold? You're going to be back on the show. What's going to be different in the future, Shelley?
Right now, we're really working on building out our network of partners and going after larger contracts. So as we secure larger contracts and we have larger team out working, that makes me really happy. It makes me incredibly proud to say we won this piece of business and we have a subcontracting team out on a project. I used to be the subcontractor. Now I'm bringing in on subcontractors. So more of those projects. And then I think more of our accelerator running to support sustainability around other suppliers and how they can grow their businesses. So all the things I've learned and a lot of the pain points that we've had as a company, I would say me and our other leader, we're putting that into the accelerator so that we can help other suppliers and take that to market. And so, I think that will be a big part of our future going forward. So I'm really excited about it.
So I have to comment on how you've evolved. You earlier said in the beginning you weren't comfortable with the business development piece. Now it's the major thing you're doing is creating opportunities for others. So see how entrepreneurs can grow and with their business. This is a testament, Shelley. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rick.
If someone would like to connect with you on LinkedIn and then learn more about On Its Axis, where do they go? What do they do, Shelley?
The best way is connect on LinkedIn. Our company page is On Its Axis. It's all one word. And you can connect with me, Shelley Iocona. I have the challenge of having a first and a last name that are hard to spell, but you can see it on the screen. I'm happy to connect. We also, I'd say, follow our company page because we do a lot of free events that give a lot of insight into everything from AI to digital transformation and change agility. So we do a lot of those throughout the year. Our website is onitsaxis.com, and I'd love to stay connected and hope to be on a future show.
Yes, Haley will take the responsibility. We'll bring you back in the future. There's a lot of areas of your knowledge and expertise we unfortunately didn't get to touch on today. So there's always that opportunity. Business is always changing and evolving, whether we want it to or not, and we need to stay on point with that. It's a never-ending challenge for any size business is to maintain their relevance in the marketplace and with their employees and with their suppliers. It's just the facts. And it sounds like your expertise in this area could really be valuable to our community as well. So thank you for giving of your time and being a guest on today's show. I told you, ladies and gentlemen, we were going to have a good one with Shelley. So thanks, Shelley.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Haley.
And thanks to the audience. You've been a part of Orange County's longest running business talk show. And Shelley's episode joins our catalog of 1,500 episodes of Orange County guests that we've done over the years. If you happen to be an Orange County entrepreneur, or you're a nonprofit leader, and you would like to share your story with our audience, then reach out to me on LinkedIn. If we're not already connected, Send me a connection request. Let me know you have some interest. I'm Rick, R-I-C, Franzi, F-R-A-N-Z-I. If we're already connected, just send me a message, email, however you want to connect with me, text me. And between Haley, our producer, and myself, we can help to get you ready for a future episode of the show. And until the next time we're all together, I hope your business decisions will move your organization in a positive direction.